The views and opinions expressed on Detroit Wants to Know with Steve Hood are not those of WADL TV 38 or Adele Broadcasting Corporation.
Detroit Wants to Know is brought to you by Ven Johnson, attorney and counselor, Johnson Law, PLC.
People moving out, people moving in. Why? Because of the color of the skin. Run, 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 but you sure can't hide. Well, nobody's interested in learning but the teacher. Segregation, determination, demonstration, integration, aggravation, humiliation, obligation to our nation.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Detroit Wants to Know. You're watching TV 38 WADL. Tomorrow is Martin Luther King's holiday, the celebration of Martin Luther King's birthday. I'm going to introduce you to the man that first introduced this into the United States Congress, Congressman John Conyers. Sir, how are you today?
Great to see you again, Steve Hood.
Welcome back. It's almost been a year now. Congressman, you were the first congressperson to introduce legislation to give us a holiday celebrating Martin Luther King's birthday. Are we back to where we were before Martin Luther King was around?
Of course not.
We're not.
No, we're not.
You don't think Public Act 4 takes us back there?
Well, Public Act 4 is another one of the many pieces of conservative legislation that we have to oppose. I wouldn't have been in Congress as long as I have if I hadn't been not only promoting important, significant legislation like celebrating the life and legacy of the greatest American that I've ever met, but as well opposing almost hilarious legislation as can be observed in listening to the Conservative Party's candidates who want to replace Barack Obama.
That is hilarious. Ven Johnson, our attorney, our sponsor, tell me something. Public Act 4, does it violate the United States Constitution in your eyes?
It's a great question, Steve. And first of all, I'm just humbled to be here with Congressman Conyers and thank him for all that he's done for all of us here in Michigan for years. Here's what I agree with Congressman about. Public Act 4, this putting in a financial manager, is a big, complex law, Steve, that is going to take a lot of analysis from a lot of different people. It was put into place, it was signed actually into law by Governor Blanchard back in 1988. So I'm guessing there might have been some good intentions, but any time where you insert politics, and that is a governor who comes in to run a city or the city's financial business, certainly runs into some constitutional overtones, I'll call it. And I agree with the congressman that it needs to be ferreted out in court, and it's going to be a long, drawn-out legal battle, I can assure you that.
Okay. Do you think our civil rights have eroded over the years?
There's no question they have. Over the course of the last easy 10 years here in Michigan, the individual civil rights and civil liberties have been infringed on a great deal because of the pendulum swinging way too far to the right. Governor Engler to this day continues to haunt us with many of his appointees still making some terrible decisions in our courts, and it's something that needs to change, and it needs to change now.
Congressman, what do you think about that? Is the fight still on?
Well, of course the fight's still on, but for things to be imagined to be worse, I think we ought to look a little bit more carefully at that.
I mean, we're sitting here at the Hudson Cafe, owned by an African-American man. I don't think you could have done that before the King movement. This is part of Dr. King's dream. It's an economic dream, but it's working. And you've got blacks and whites sitting together here. So the pendulum hasn't totally swung back there, but I really see that there's a total challenge to our Constitution right now.
Well, absolutely. It's ongoing, and in some ways, Steve, it's the nature of a democratic system. There will be people with all kinds of ideas. We have people that would like to become the next president of the United States that wants to abolish 3 federal agencies all at once. We have another one that wants to abolish the IRS.
Okay.
I mean, look, they're overarching all of the legislation is the consideration that people are getting over the fact of those who were once enslaved are not just equal, but in many times have superior contributions to make. So for us to take one law and say, are we going backwards? Well, yeah, the one law is going backwards, but there are many things that have gone forward. And I just want to make this one point in this important discussion. We, as a global citizenry, have become less violent. And in Detroit, actually, we've become less violent. Although less violent doesn't make you feel better if crime is still going on. But more and more people are
Some people would say Detroit is a whole lot more violent, but go ahead.
Well, no, the statistically.
Right.
But King, whole notion of peace and justice combining is now being more generally accepted than it has been during his time. It was violently contested.
Okay.
I think we have an excellent example of that, what we just saw here, even in Detroit, but also in the big city, Steve, with the peaceful, if you will, revolution that came from within, just like Congressman Conyers said.
Well, then, I want to thank you guys for coming. Congressman Conyers, are you ready for the young whippersnappers to take you on? May's coming. Are you ready?
Well, look, my friend, every 2 years I've been ready for 44 years.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, when we come back, we're going to talk to George Jackson. We're going to learn about light rail. This is Steve Hood. You're watching Detroit Wants to Know. We're coming to you from the Hudson Cafe. And John Conyers says he's ready for the young whippersnappers.